Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Chapter 103. When we last left our heroes, the Lucy-Kiria fight was continuing in the aftermath of Lucy, in revenge for what Kiria did to her, cutting all of Kiria's clothes to shreds. Kiria shows no shame on the account that there are only women in the room, but that quickly goes out the window when Laxus appears. But Laxus, ever the gentleman, gives Kiria his cloak. And then he's going to help out Lucy with the fight against Kiria's protestations. But then Kiria uses her strength-cutting magic to lead to Laxus's obedience, and so Lucy has to fight Kiria alone, which she tries. She sure does try. She throws everything from Cancer Scissors to Flute d'Etoiles to the Leo Virgo, Star Dress form and its light magic, but Kiria cuts through all of it, and seemingly takes Lucy's arm with her. So yeah, that's where we left off, with Lucy getting that serious attack, at Kiria's hands, and her arm is at a weird angle. I don't know, we'll see. And Laxus seems to be, like, shaken by that. But first, we have the results of the 100 Years Quest popularity poll. We see they're not quite listed, who's in what place. But we can kind of guess. Lucy is the biggest, and she's holding this trophy, saying, "Thank you for all of your votes." Urza's just below her. I'm grateful. Celine is in third, which is kind of shocking to me, given how little time we spent with Celine compared to everyone else on this page. And Celine says, "Oh dear, I didn't make first place." And Jalal is just stunned. Fourth place? Me? And Natsu's raging, "Why the hell am I this low?" And then there are results for 6th place and under. This is a check event at the top page. I imagine that's just like for the website that the manga is hosted on in Japan. Because I don't see any of that on Manga Dex. Anyway, we have our scan later page, and we have our cover, which is Lucy getting her hair cut by Cancer in this sort of very racy dress. When handling the hair of a maiden, you must be gentle and at times bold. Chapter 103, Memories of Friends. And we open really right where we left off. And at this panel, that arm is even more distinctly unattached than it was last chapter. Like, the top part of her right arm is going at this angle, whereas this part is, like, way up here. They don't connect at all. So, I think Lucy lost an arm. And Kiria just grins as Lucy is just in shock. And then poofs away! Oh, it's Gemini! Okay, that works. PD. Close one, right? Totally. So yeah, Gemini was the Lucy we've been seeing for a while, which is interesting. When did she make that change? Because as far as I can tell, like, Gemini is clearly wearing the Leo Virgo star dress. So, can Gemini use star dresses? That's interesting. What, could Gemini use, like, a Gemini star dress? I don't know. But Kiria is just stunned. A substitute! And she turns back around. Oh, it was like at the last moment, it was Horologium. Who like, swapped her out with Gemini. And Horologium says, "Hold on, my clothes," is what she says. But that is how this works. And Lucy, we see, is naked because Gemini was wearing her clothes. Kiria just growls, "You cheeky little..." And Horologium then says, "Thanks, you saved me, Horologium, Gemini," is what she says. "However, this skill of mine cannot be used more than once. Please take heed." Is that a long-standing thing? That Horologium can only be used, like, once a battle? I don't know, but he just deposits Lucy on the ground as Lucy cries, "Wait! Clothes!" And Laxus turns away. I'm wondering if even the illusion of Lucy's, debilitating injury is gonna snap him out of it. But Lucy, quickly deals with her clothes problem. Star Dress. Aries. And is this the first time you've seen Star Dress Aries? I think it might be. And we see she has, like, these ram horns on her head. The dress sort of has this, like, wool collar, but beyond that it's kind of a, like, spaghetti strap thing. That, like, barely just covers, like, the bottom of her boobs. And is fairly short with, like, shorts underneath it. I don't think we've seen this before, but it's a It's an interesting design. But anyway, Kiria just taunts, so you can only use that defensive trick once, eh? And Lucy tells her, yeah, but I'm still glad I got out of that. Kiria, knowing that the Horologium is all used up, is more than confident now. This time, I'll cut you up nice and good. Lucy uses Wool Shield to sort of fill the gap between her and Kiria. It doesn't really work, though. I literally just told you. My blade cuts through anything. And Lucy's pushed back by the attack. Yeah! But largely doesn't seem too terribly cut up. But Kiria is just still pressing on. Haha, no more miracles for you. And she's just cutting into Lucy left and right. Lucy tries to, block. But, what does she have to block with? So strong. What do I do now? And Kiria just goes on tearing into her. And Lucy, is cut up, bleeding. Her dress is torn. I can't do anything on my own. And Kiria readies what she hopes to be the last attack. Curtain time! This is bad. At this rate, I'll really... And she's, falling over. But I can't get a... And Kiria brings the blade down. And there he is! Laxus takes the hit, having finally woken up. I'm guessing that those titular memories of friends impacting him here. Stunning everyone, even Laxus, honestly, seems shocked that he made that move. But yeah, that's a deep cut. It seems that even he's bleeding from behind even. Lucy just calls out, Laxus! And Kiria snaps, what gives? I thought I cut your strength. And Laxus was nursing the wound. Weak or not, I can't just watch you cut up my guildmate's body. And Kiria snaps, but you're supposed to be my yes man. I couldn't help myself. My body just moved on its own. And Lucy goes try to tend to him. Laxus, just hold on. And Laxus says, you know where our strength comes from? It's not how strong we are on our own. The bonds of the guild. That's what makes us strong. And I know this is the exact kind of thing that, years ago would have gotten an angry mob ranting about friendship powers. But damn it, that's the good shit. That's the good shit Fairy Tail always brings. That sort of, even if Laxus' own strength is cut, he's never really been powered by his own strength. He's powered by everyone else's strength. By, the strength he has in the bond of the guild, as he says. And so, his weakness is overridden by his need to protect the guild. And Kiria just growls at that. Grr. And Lucy thinks, the bonds of the guild. And then she summons Virgo and tells her, Virgo, watch Laxus for me. As you wish, princess. And we see Virgo sort of takes Laxus. And Lucy seems to realize, of course, the guild's bonds are our strength. She seems to have some kind of plan that Laxus' sacrifice there has awoken in her. I'm not sure what exactly she's going to go for here. But Kiria just taunts, bonds? You're really full of crap, aren't you? You're just a little princess all on her own, waiting to get cut up. That, honestly, it's the first thing we've had, a callback to Lucy's backstory, I think all sequel series. Even if Kiria is unaware that she's making that callback, it still is an interesting little line. Especially given how much Lucy pushed against that sort of rich heiress identity way back in the beginning of the series. But anyway, Lucy tells her, I'm not on my own. The memories of my friends are dyed into my body. And she sort of clenches her fist, and she flashes back to all these moments. I don't even recognize all of them. I can clearly see, I think that's the aftermath of the Tower of Heaven on one panel. What seems to be a very early Gray panel, just given how the art is drawn. Along with this early Natsu panel, we see a bit with her and Urza. I'm not sure what scene that's supposed to be. They're both in swimsuits. I think that's either her and Wendy or I think it's her and Wendy blasting Natsu off somewhere. I forget I can't quite tell what scenes all of these are. But a lot of just, Bond of the Guild scenes. And she stomps her foot down, and her shoe disappears. She's in a new star dress form. Or actually, the way this is structured, with her clothes vanishing in that flash of light, it feels kind of Requip-esque. But Kiria is just sort of shocked at what she's seeing. Star dress mix. Aquarius Gemini. And we see her new star dress mix, this sort of black and white, like split down the middle bikini vibe, where like the black side has this like long gauntlet on her arm, and this long kind of like a thigh-high sock almost, and the other is much less covered, but you know, it has the water theme of the swimsuit with Aquarius, and the black and white dynamic of Gemini, or the you know, 2-in-1 dynamic of Gemini. But I'm not quite sure what exactly that's going to do, or how exactly the whole Bonds of the Guild thing ties into this. But Virgo announces, Princess, that form cannot be maintained for more than 16 seconds. Oh, is that because like she doesn't have Aquarius's key anymore? Because she's not an Elementeer anymore. She can't just like automatically use Aquarius. Either way, Lucy says, 16 seconds are all I need. And she just floods the cavern with the Aquarius power, sweeping Kiria up. What's going on? And Lucy starts to chant, I beg of thee, may the stars descend from the heavens. And something rises out of the water. And it's an army of Water Lucy clones. Okay, and Kiria just like cuts between them. Stay back! But she cuts one, and it just sort of doesn't do anything because it's just a bit of water. And Lucy keeps chanting, illuminate all, this world, this land. Illuminate it by your hand. And Kiria goes on, which one's the real one? And it's Urza? She creates an Urza? I guess there's the real Gemini power. Right here. And Kiria snaps back, Urza! But no, she cuts through Urza and it's just more water. No, this is just a fake made of water. Oh, here's the Bonds of the Guild. Because she's just literally creating her guildmates. And she cuts through Natsu and Gray. That one. This one. Are they all just fakes? She cuts through Wendy and Happy. Even this one. And then, from behind her, is that Yukino and Hisui? And not just the guild. The other celestial mages who she's met in the past. The memories of everyone I've met give me power. Glistening, flowing, alighting. May they descend before us. And I guess these clones, maybe because their magic is so similar to Lucy, these clones are able to use some kind of magic. I'm surrounded! And Lucy finally says her magic. Celestial Trinity magic! Gottfried! And Kiria is just taken up in this sheer light energy, powered by Lucy and Yukino and Hisui. Okay, that's a lot there. And Kiria is just fried. But also so is Lucy. That, and Virgo and Laxus just smile on at Lucy's victory, is the power of our bonds. To be continued. Okay. Hot damn. Hot damn that chapter. Okay. I'm trying to put my thoughts on what exactly Lucy just did. Right? Because, like, I don't, you know, I mean, I stand by my earlier guess that the reason that she's able to, like, she's able to use Yukino and Hisui's magic here is because it's largely just the same thing as her magic. But still, that's damn impressive. And also, given just like how Star Dress works, it is sort of a natural, you know, variation of abilities that we've already seen from Lucy. You know, they're like tapping into another celestial spirit's magic power is the same thing she's been doing ever since she first started using Star Dress back in Alvarez. So yeah, just good shit here. And I'm assuming that, you know, the rest of the guild, the rest of the clones can't use their magic because Lucy doesn't have their magic. Excuse me. So yeah, good shit. I am a little, you know, somewhat confused about her ability to tap into Aquarius when she does not have that key. I'm assuming that's why Virgo says the form can only be maintained for 16 seconds. Because, like, that's just how long it lasts. How long, you know, because she doesn't have the power, that, like, she doesn't actually have the Aquarius key. You know what I mean. But yeah, just good fucking shit here. Like, Lucy is just kind of a badass here. We have this nice bit of Laxus sort of taking the fall for Lucy, but, like, this has very much not been Laxus's fight. I still kind of think that, like, Urza should be the one to take down Kiria for good. They've had this rivalry brewing for, like, 100 chapters now. But also, like, maybe this isn't the final end of Kiria. Who's to really say? Like, you know, I've kind of been acting under the assumption that this is sort of Diabolos's final arc as, like, a main threat. And I know there's been some, you know, fairly minor pushback against that idea in the comments. That Diabolos will continue to be a recurring villain after this arc. Again, I'm not quite so sure. And, you know, if this isn't, then I presume we'll still have more Kiria-Urza conflict going forward. But if not, you know, given that... How do I phrase this? Acknowledging that I think that it should have been Urza who took down Kiria for good, you know, that's a minor problem. This is still a great fucking fight. This is just such a good climax. You know, I could complain about the, like, somewhat gratuitous nudity throughout this fight. But honestly, this might be somewhat tangential to the chapter. It's sort of more about the series as a whole. And Fairy Tail's fan service problem has been a thing since his earliest days. But this is as good enough a time to talk about that as any. There's this fascinating juxtaposition in Mashima and I guess how he writes and depicts female characters, if that makes any sense. Like, if you look at a lot of big shonen, the female characters tend to not get much to do. You know, like Sakura and Hinata in Naruto don't do much. There was that bit in Boruto that really rankled me a month or two ago, where Hinata, like, offers to help in tracking down Code or joining up the fight Code, and Naruto kind of shuts her down, which, like, while understandable in context, does just feel like what my question with that was, like, why bring it up, right? And, you know, a lot of these big shonen, the female characters tend to get sidelined. You know, Nami and Robin have gotten a little bit to do in Wano, but, like, not as much as I feel like Robin is... I mean, they've gotten their big moments. But, you know, they do end up feeling somewhat sidelined compared to the men. And in One Piece's case, it's just a question, I think, of, like, cast size and the gender makeup of the cast. I'm rambling here, I know. My point is, Mashima, for all of his problems with fan service, and they are problems, you know, just the sheer amount of characters getting stripped down to full-on nudity that goes on in this fight alone, like, the fan service has always been a problem, but he also, he doesn't sideline his female characters in the way a lot of shonen manga authors do. Which, you know, it's an interesting dichotomy there. It's an interesting compare and contrast. It's an interesting thing, is my point. So, you know, I can complain about just how much nudity goes on in this fight. It's also just really fucking cool. It's a really badass fight. Even if it does involve Lucy stripping down to a swimsuit to beat the bad guy, it's just a good damn fight. A good climax. I love this sort of, you know, expansion of Lucy's powers. It's really cool. And, you know, culminating in that Gottfried spell that just roasts Kiria. And, you know, it's damn good. It is damn good. And with that, Kiria is at least down for the arc. Again, if Diabolos is not done after this arc, she probably will come back. But then, yeah, beyond that, the only really thing to talk about in this chapter is Laxus's new wound here is definitely going to affect him in his rematch with Kirin. I can't imagine that not becoming an important, some kind of problem in his fight with Kiria later. But yeah, all in all, real cool chapter. This is just a badass fight for Lucy. That's what I gotta say. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!